What is going on, everybody? It's DoomCool for you guys, bringing you a 20 tips for Warzone that I guarantee you guys are not going to know some of these, at least even if you're a super experienced player. So make sure you watch to the end because we've got a ton of really good tips. You know, I tried to literally think of some of the most specific things I possibly could, so like I said. So I'm pretty sure you guys are going to learn a lot of new stuff. And if you learned something new, make sure you guys drop a like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it a lot, but let's get right into it. For the first tip of the video, which is a big one just to start it right off the bat, is how to get 4 perks on one class. As you guys probably know, when you get your loadout supply drop, typically you get the 3 perks, but this trick actually allows you to get 4. So basically your first loadout supply drop, most people run overkill to have like a sniper and their regular gun. So that's gonna be your first loadout that you get. So you're gonna have overkill. But if you go again to another supply drop, like they end up spawning all over the place, especially towards the end, you can actually make another class with a different perk 2, like Ghost or something like that. I forget all the other perk 2s. I think Hardline's one as well. And you can get that perk 2 instead of your overkill and then just pick up your 2 guns again. So you're basically getting 4 perks, and it can be a real game changer, especially towards the end, having that extra perk. You know, you want every advantage you can get, so definitely take advantage of that. For number 2, we've got a big one for the audio settings, and this is big because it's different for PC and console. For PC, you actually want boost low, and that's what I'm running, you'll see here. And if you're playing on console, you actually want boost high. And I can at least tell you from my experience on PC, like changing this made a world of difference, made it so much easier to hear footsteps. So definitely get on top of that as soon as possible. Why it's different on PC and console, I don't know, but that's just what I've learned. Next up, we've got a really cool one to show you guys how you can see everybody on the map at the same time. If you and your 3 squad mates all call on a UAV at the same time, you actually get an advanced UAV, and it shows every single person on the map, no matter if they're on the other side of the map or what, and you can see exactly where everyone is in real time. It's really OP. So if you guys are stacked up on cash, then you definitely want to try and do that because it's really good if you're trying to get some kills. Next up, this is kind of an obvious one, but I kind of wanted to break it down what like the hit markers mean. You know, when you shoot somebody, you really want to watch out for the blue ones, because as soon as you see a blue hit marker, that means you broke their shield and they're super weak. So you're going to want to try and push them as soon as possible, because they're probably going to be trying to use the armor, and if they don't have armor, then they're going to be super weak. So watch out for that blue hit marker, because that will tell you a lot. Next up, this one's kind of like a general tip, but you always want to try and get self-revive. It's super clutch. I'm going to show you guys a really cool clip here. You guys are gonna really like this one. So it's just an example of why you should use self-revive, and honestly it makes a real big difference, because you're gonna end up winning a lot more games, especially if all of your squad has this. And for the next tip, I'm gonna tell you guys, in order to get as much cash as possible, you're gonna want to prioritize the scavenger contracts, which look like this, because this is gonna be the quickest way for you to get a lot of cash. As you guys probably know, the more contracts you do, the more money you end up getting, and so you want to do these ones first because it's super quick and you'll get the most cash as fast as possible. So it even shows on the map where specific contracts are before you can even jump in. So if you want to land in an area where there's like a bunch of these contracts, that might be worth doing, honestly. And next up is kind of another general one, but make sure you guys are looking on the ground for gas masks, like after you kill somebody, because they are pretty expensive for you to buy yourself, but they are useful, and a lot of the times you'll find people running around using them. But when you walk over a body to loot it, it won't auto pick it up for you, so you really have to look out for it and try to find it in any loot that you see on the ground. Next up is kind of a class setup tip, but you definitely want a thermal scope on one of your weapons. It makes seeing people so much easier in this game. I know it helps me a ton. It's actually insane how big of a difference it makes, especially if they're not using cold-blooded. But there's one sight on the AR that you can switch from like a red dot to a thermal. So if you don't like sniping, you could use that. And if you do like sniping, then it might be just worth using the thermal on your sniper itself. That's what I do personally. And like I said, it makes a real big difference. And as I'm sure you guys know, like snipers are like the meta right now. So you're probably gonna be wanting to carry one of those regardless. Next up, I'm sure you guys, somebody's had this problem at least once in their time playing Warzone. You need people to play with, at least to communicate. It doesn't even matter if they're not the best players, like communication is such a big deal, you know, being on the same page as your teammates. We've got a Discord where we play with people all the time, so if you guys want to join that, or you can just comment your PSN, gamer tag, or Activision account, or whatever you want, and you can add other people in the comments. But I 100% recommend doing this. It makes a really big difference. Next up is another tip regarding the contracts. The flag contracts actually show you where the next zones are going to be, and if you continue, you know, doing each step, like you go to a new flag each time, you'll know where the final zone is before anybody else, and you can get a good setup if you're like really trying to go for the win and figure out, like, you know, the best vantage point, the best high ground position, to make sure you're safe in the zone. So once you've done all the scavenger contracts, got a bunch of cash, definitely recommend doing this so you can have an edge in seeing where the next zone is. This next tip is a little quick thing, just a little quick tip for you guys that I guess be able to keep a mental note, but the gas mask actually lasts 12 seconds. There's 6 bars next to the mask when you have it, and each one is 2 seconds. So that's just something to keep in mind for you to kind of get an idea of how long you can survive in the storm for. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Next one is kind of obvious, and I feel like I've seen people do it a little bit more now, but I still think for newer players this could be a big one, is make sure you're using your grenades in the gulag. You know, you can kind of just sit in a corner in the beginning and watch the cross, like if they cross over to one side, until you're able to use your grenades, and make sure you use them, because it definitely makes like a really big difference. If you get stunned, like it's almost impossible to get the kill while you're stunned. So make sure you're trying to at least use your stun grenade when you're in the gulag. And next up, this is kind of a cool little thing that I didn't realize, and you can utilize this kind of with the first tip we gave you, that getting 4 perks, is the Hardline perk actually allows you to buy stuff for a lot cheaper, I think, other than the loadout drop marker. So it makes a big deal, and your teammates can like drop you cash for you to buy everything. So you just have one person in your team running Hardline that like buys all the kill streaks and stuff and drops it for other people. That can be super useful, and I'll show you guys like the difference of what stuff costs on screen right here. Next is another small one. It's a parachute auto deploy. So if you do not cut your parachute at all, you can actually just dive straight down and it'll auto deploy for you. But if you do cut your parachute, then it's not going to auto deploy for you. You're going to actually have to do it yourself. So keep that in mind whenever you're skydiving. Next is kind of for the campers out there, the deployable shields that you can get, which is like one of the abilities or whatever that you pick up off the ground. If you can put it on in front of a ladder and just block it completely and people can't get up. So if you're really trying to go for a win and hold down a building or something like that, you can make it so pretty much no one can get on you unless they have a helicopter. So if you're really about the win and you're trying to camp it out, this might be a useful thing for you. The next tip is a big one for all console players out there. I know you guys are probably not going to want to play against PC players and get a higher field of view, more frames, all that stuff. So you can actually turn off crossplay in your account settings, and it will make it so you're only playing against, you know, your own platform. So this can be good to kind of put you on an even playing field, because I get for the console people, it's probably a pain playing against PC people because you truly are at a huge disadvantage. So if you're new especially, I definitely recommend doing this. Next one is kind of an underrated thing, I feel like, is to use the stim shot instead of a regular stun when you see it on the ground, because you can use it to heal in storm, and it can kind of give you even more time to be in the storm, and you can hold 2 of them. So like, I know there's a lot of times where like you're pretty much screwed if you're in the gas and people are trying to hold you and you feel like you're just forced to go out there and die. So I definitely recommend using this, because just having like a stun, it's kind of hard to pinpoint directly on somebody, and you're playing a full squad most of the time anyway. So I don't know, I feel like using stim shot is definitely way better than using like stun grenades or something. And like I was talking about with the field of view thing, if you are on PC, make sure you change your field of view higher. It's such a big advantage. 110 I think is like the sweet spot for that most PC players use, so set it to this if you play on PC. And yeah, it allows you to see more around, and it just makes it look better overall. Next up is the most underrated vehicle and weapon in the game are the dump trucks, which you can actually see on the map too. If you zoom in, you can see exactly where they are, but it's super hard to get shot at because the windows are so small and you're kind of elevated, so it's not like a straight line of sight, and you can just run over people super easily, as you guys will see in these clips, and it's a lot of fun. So you can drive around with them, you know, safely get to different areas. If your teammates are in the back, obviously they're kind of open, but that's pretty much any vehicle anyway. So as you guys will see in these clips, it's really, really good. And if you see one laying around, you know, give it a shot and try it. You'll probably kill somebody with it. Next, we have a really cool tip that can actually be a lot of fun, and if you end up pulling it off, it's really cool. You can actually shoot while you're in the air, so you can cut your parachute and shoot people while in mid-air. You'll see a clip of somebody doing it here. So if you're really, really good, you're really cracked, definitely go for this. You know, especially in those hot drops where there's a lot of people landing at the same spot, you might be able to get a few kills, or at least injure them before they hit the ground, you know. And also, somebody on Reddit made this really cool map showing all the looting locations, like the best spots to loot. You guys can see the higher the numbers, the better the loot, basically. And so all the 5s means like that's the really, really good loot. So kind of keep this in mind, I guess, if you want to know where to land, for if you just want good loot or whatever. So I thought I'd throw this in here. And lastly, this is a big one too for both console and PC. If you're on PC, you probably want to turn your settings low unless you have like a god tier PC, but on console you definitely want to turn your film grain all the way down and turn off your motion blur, because it's going to make the game run a lot better and look a lot better. So definitely do that if you're new to COD and you haven't done this already. But yeah, guys, that's gonna do it. If you learned something new, make sure you guys drop a like. Let us know which thing you found most helpful, and maybe if you have a little tip you want to give anybody, you can leave a comment there too. We're gonna be posting more Warzone videos, so subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on those notifications, and I will see you guys soon with another video. All right, thanks for watching.
Damn, bro, I had no fucking plates. You can look, sit there until there's a streak below you.
Gas is moving in. New safe zone located.
Mid cluster or something, that's nice.
Less than 5 remain standing.
Precision, yeah, that's nice. Oh, right on that. Oh my god. That could be fucking key. It's head glitch, that shit.
On that run.
Lost guys. Fucking reload, damn, I should look at cost my ass. What?
Gonna res. Like on a strike.
Fucking holes.
I think they're all up now. Shit.
All right.
Gas is closing. Get to the new safe zone.
No way you're playing like that.
Time's almost up. Finish the mission.
Cool.
That is a win.
Fucking 24. Put me in your fucking backpack.